Hey guys, what's going on? It's Game Guide Classic here, or Mike as I'm known in the real world. And this is a milestone for me. This is the first time that I have ever appeared on camera. And unfortunately for you guys, it probably will not be the last. So you're just going to have to deal with me. But I figured I'd make a video for you guys, kind of explaining what's been going on over the past couple weeks and why there hasn't been any progress in Dark Souls 3. Despite numerous patches that they've released, I'm interested to see what's changed and have some fun with it again. I think we're in Nithril somewhere. But I decided about a month ago that I was going to start my own business, computer repair business, and it's primarily on site. I do have some customers who will go and pick up a computer or they'll mail me, say, a hard drive or something for data recovery, and I'll take care of that for them. But primarily, it's on site. It's based out of New Jersey because that's where I live. I'm not going to go anywhere crazy, and it's in the Morris County area. In case any of you guys are anywhere near here, over time it'll expand into possibly all of New Jersey. We'll do some remote access and things of that nature. But right now, we want to keep it small because it's a one-man operation. My girlfriend helps out with a few things here and there, answering the phones, emailing people back, setting up appointments and things like that. But she has a 9 to 5 job as a paralegal, which has come in handy. Let me tell you, when it comes to doing the disclaimers and things like that, it really helps to have somebody who can write in legalese. So, that helps as well. But it's been a large endeavor. It's taken a lot of my time. I decided to do the website myself. I created a Facebook account, and there is even a YouTube account, which will start to get some more videos as time becomes more and more available. It's going to showcase some of the repairs that I'm doing, and I'm just going to talk generally about some technology things as an idea pops into my head. I already have an idea for a video for that channel for later today about a hard drive I received in the mail for potential data recovery. But when I started out in the repair industry, I was working for Best Buy. This was well before the Geek Squad was ever a part of them. And one of the things that I kind of built a client base for was because I used to do a lot of repairs for customers on the side for things that Best Buy didn't do or wasn't willing to do. Their in-home segment was very, very small at that time and very, very expensive. I remember it was something like $400 to go out and install a wireless router, which really, as you guys may or may not know, isn't the most difficult thing in the world. Last I knew, it was still kind of expensive. It was like $129. I mean, I think for the amount of work it requires, I don't think that's worth $129. Now if you're going to set up the router, set up file and print sharing, create a home group for somebody, maybe $100 is pretty good. I wouldn't charge anything more than that for that service. I think it's ridiculous. But be that as it may, they're a massive conglomerate and they have a huge overhead. And I'm one individual man and I don't have a huge overhead, so I can afford to undercut them significantly, and probably do a better job in the process. I'm not knocking the technicians at Best Buy, trust me. I worked there for many years and I just, it is what it is. But I would take, laptops that, we didn't want to touch the LCD on or replace it. It was definitely not something we could do in store. And at that point in time, they didn't have like COD repairs or anything like that to send it to the wonderful service center in Kentucky to, repair your laptop screen. It's easier for me to say to the customer, hey, give me your laptop outside the building. I'll order the part for it and I'll install it for you. It's not rocket science to install an LCD, although when you're working with laptops, you do have to be a little bit more careful. There's a lot of screws, a lot of moving parts that you got to just be careful of. One of the main things that the technicians at Best Buy had a habit of doing was prying on the hinges to the laptop to pop the strip off, and they'd end up, with gouge marks and scrapes and scratches in it. And rightfully so, the customers would get upset. and me being the supervisor at the time would have to deal with these people. You know, if I make a mistake, I don't mind telling the customer I made a mistake, but if I have to explain away someone else's mistake, you know, that kind of bothers me. So, um, and then, like I said, with their in-home, it was just easy money. I could charge $150. It's still $250 cheaper than what Best Buy was offering, and go in and set up somebody's network and whatever. And at the time, it was a little bit more difficult because you have Windows 2000 machines, you have Windows 98 or Millennium, and you could also have Windows XP. So sometimes getting the three of those to talk together did require a little bit of work, usually on the Windows 98 side of things. But overall, I never had too much trouble with it. Um, but that's where we started. And over the years, it just built a client base, built a client base, built a client base. And, you know, something about creating something. I think I've talked about this when I've been playing a game. You know, it's always something about creating something that makes it more exciting, more interesting. Um, and while it's probably not going to make me rich being a computer repair technician for my own business, um, I like to help people, I like to educate them. And a large portion of the walk in customers, or if we call them walk in or cold call, whatever, that come to me are people who were dissatisfied with the service from one of the big box retailers. You know, you got Best Buy, you got Staples, you got Micro Center, um, and then I come in and I save the day. But you have to be careful with the white knight approach because some of these machines are difficult, and whenever you have some other hands on the machine, you never really know what to expect. Um, you know, I had a couple computers that were here, laptops that had some issues. Um, Best Buy kind of messed one up. I got a call on Saturday from a customer who had brought the computer to Best Buy. It sounded like the hard drive was a little finicky to begin with. The operating system, the file system somehow got corrupted or whatever the case may be. But now it doesn't boot Windows at all. And she wants to send the drive to me to see if I can't get her information off of it. Data recovery is very expensive. Um, so if there's a cheaper alternative to not having to send it out to data recovery center, especially when it's what I call software related, you know, corrupt file system, you accidentally delete something, you format the drive again. Um, those are things that are fairly easy to recover from. But if there's any kind of mechanical failures with the drive, the likelihood that I'll be able to do a lot with it is slim to none. But I'll recommend some reputable data recovery centers, and she can make the decision with what she wants to do. But um, there are certain hard drive, even mechanical problems that can be fixed without having to do that. But we'll get into that. That's one of the reasons I created a channel for the business for YouTube. The link will be in the description along with the website and the Facebook page as well. And on that site, on the YouTube account that's going to be associated with it, I'm going to be making videos on the repairs that I do. Not all of them, but some of them, especially the ones that are interesting or I have a nice little story to tell or yell at a customer without, you know, pointing the finger at them. Um, you know, so that's something that we're going to be doing. It helps with marketing and it helps for them to see me in action and talking about it. You know, I do like to teach, and that's one of the ways that I can teach is by actually, you know, showcasing a repair. But as I mentioned, when you start a business now, the other thing you have to keep in mind is that, you know, I've run departments, I've run stores in a way, in my retail experience. So I understand what it takes to actually run a business. But at the same point in time, you never really know until you start your own. There's just little nuances that you don't really think about. And one of the things that I knew early on was that even though it's a computer repair business, it's a small business, you still have to have an inventory. Number one, you have to have a test component of pretty much everything, with the exception of a processor and a motherboard. You know, you really need to have at least a power supply. You need to have another hard drive. You still do see systems with the old IDE hard drives. It's more prevalent in laptops than it is desktops, but you do still see them. You need to have a spare CD-ROM, you know, a USB drive for either backups or bootables or whatever you want to do with it. You know, so you need those spare parts to be able to test something properly. You also need an inventory because you need to be able to replace a part. Now, for the most part, these customers are bringing me a Dell, they're bringing me an HP, something like that. We're not talking that the HP has, a GTX 980 in SLI. We're just talking it's probably got like a 650 or a 660, maybe, something along those lines. Maybe if it was brand spanking new, maybe it's got I don't know, a 960 if it's like the top of the line model. You don't really see, Alienware would be a different story. But for the most part, you're not seeing like these big hulking systems. If it's a custom job, they're probably not bringing it to me anyway. They're, for the most part, should be savvy enough to fix it themselves. But that's not necessarily the case. We did see that at Best Buy. A friend of a friend of a friend of your cousin decided to sell you a computer, and now he don't know how to fix it. So, I mean, those things do happen, but they're rare. For the most part, we're dealing with, OEM systems here. We're not dealing with anything crazy. So you need to have, some type of inventory, especially when it comes to common computer failures. When we're talking about hard drives, we're talking about memory, although memory really doesn't fail. I know. I've run plenty of mem tests in my life and all sorts of other diagnostics coming out of the yin yang, and it's very, very rare that I have a memory module that actually does fail. It happens. I mean, anything can happen. The IC burns out or whatever. Shit happens, but it's rare. But you do need to have the different types of memory, and that's where it starts getting a little confusing, because you'll have people bring you an 8-year-old laptop or an 8-year-old desktop that is still running DDR2 memory. You can't necessarily upgrade it to DDR3. They're physically different. They won't fit in the slot. But there are some hybrid motherboards. I know Asus made one that had DDR2 and DDR3, but you can only use one or the other. And then Intel now on their new systems has DDR4. So now you need like all these different things. And AMD processors, you don't see them too often in the OEM systems. Pretty much Intel, either i5 or i7s, which is unfortunate because I'm an AMD guy. But, oh well, we'll fix it. But that's, the basis for it all. So you have to have an inventory. One of the biggest things is from the legal side of things. Not only does the business really need to be legitimized, which it is, it's registered with the state of New Jersey. I have the proud ability to accept sales tax. But you do have to realize that there's a lot of paperwork involved between service orders, disclaimers, data backup disclaimers, all sorts of disclaimers. And you have to make sure that all your ducks are in a row or you'll get sued. And as a sole proprietor, it can sometimes be very, very difficult because that threat of a lawsuit always, that lawsuit could be detrimental to you if you don't cover your ass. And despite what some customers think, that disclaimer protects them as well. It prevents me from breaking their computer and saying, too bad, it was already broken. And you'll get these people, and I'm a big fan of turn the business away. If I have a customer who I can just tell is going to be a pain in my butt, then I'm not going to repair their computer. When people start making demands or they want something done like super cheap, you always know there's going to be a problem. You want me to replace an LCD screen on your laptop for $50. I'm probably not going to do it because you're going to be a pain in my ass the entire time. And we're just not going to deal with the pain in the ass. I'd rather sit down and twiddle my thumbs or play Dark Souls 3 or Path of Exile or something else than deal with a problem customer. Not because I don't like confrontation. I have no issues with that. But because in the end, it's probably going to cost me more money than it's worth. So we need to make sure we protect ourselves as best as possible. So, case in point, when this woman said she wants to send me a hard drive for potential data recovery, the first thing I do is say, okay, here's the link, download this disclaimer, download data recovery disclaimer, sign them, and mail them with the hard drive. I'm expecting that hard drive today, so if I do get it today, there'll be a video up on the other site looking at that particular hard drive because I'm interested to see what it is because the way she made it sound, it's Best Buy reject. Somehow they screwed it up. I don't necessarily believe that. One of the unfortunate things is if the hard drive is already going, it can go at any point in time. If it's already if it's already corrupted, but that particular part of the hard drive that had that one file on it wasn't at that point in time, but then it is when they turn it on. That's unfortunate. Because they'll get blamed for it. The customer doesn't know. Um, sometimes you try to draw a parallel between a computer and a car or something like that they can understand. If the transmission's real loose and it's getting ready to just like, throw a rod, anything can trigger that. But not everybody believes that. Somehow computers are magical and they're mystical and they, never break and, whatever. But that's the way it is, and unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about it. But that's what I'm in for. But I enjoy it, and that's the bottom line is that's what I enjoy doing. At a later date, we do have some stuff with businesses, especially small businesses, or I like to call them. I don't really know what the classification for what makes a small, medium, and large business. For me, a small business is like 5 employees, maybe 5 computers. To me, a medium business is somewhere around like maybe 35 to 40, and then large is anything above that. Um, we're really looking to target the small and the like small, medium-sized businesses for more consultant work than anything else. They're running, I don't know, Windows XP, and they say, well, Windows 7 just. Um, I need 30 Windows disks. That's like I'll go in there and I'll upgrade the systems, for a fee. Usually charge per computer, um, and I'll take care of it. One business I had wanted me to create an internal domain, which was actually one of my most interesting jobs because that's like really what I love to do. I like to create, as I mentioned already, and creating a domain from scratch. Using like Windows 2008 server, Windows 2012, to create a domain and the Active Directory structure and everything. It's just so much fun, and this one business I did work for, um, they really, really, um, it was just really cool because I got to do some stuff here. Because when you do something like that, it's all got to be planned out. You got to make a schematic for it because if somebody else is going to come in after you and either administer it or uh, service it, whatever you want to call it, they need to know how it's set up and what computers go where and what wires do what. um, it's not necessarily cut and dry. So that was one of the things that, there's a planning phase, as I call it, then there's the testing phase. And one of the cool things about uh, the computers nowadays is you can test um, in a virtual environment. You can use something like VirtualBox, install Windows 2008 Server, Windows 2012, however you want to do it. You could set this domain up in the comfort of your own home, really, and then when you're ready, you know how to set it up, what you're going to do, how you're going to plan it, and then you could test it just to make sure it works, and then you could deploy that um, in their business, on an actual, server system. So that's kind of cool. It was one of the things that I was able to do um, about a week and a half ago. So it was fun. I had, just a blast doing that. And those jobs pay fairly well just because of the fact that, you're not talking about, installing Windows 7 and, just letting it ride. You got to set up a global policy. You got to, installing the operating system is the easiest part. Then you got to install the server roles. They all got to be configured. It's a fun thing, but that's obviously not everybody's cup of tea. That's why they paid me to do it. But we're going to expand upon the business side of things. That's ultimately more or less where I'd like it to be. But that's a lot of consultant work, and um, advertising is big with that. And I always push my customers when I'm done and they're satisfied with the work. Go to Facebook, review the company, and be legit about it. Be real. Don't bullshit me. But at the same point in time, you try to give me the benefit of the doubt. because the more reviews I have, the more ratings I have, obviously, the better my advertising is. It costs less, and the more business I'm going to drum up because they're going to be happier with the quality of work that I do. And that's ultimately where this is. We're looking to make money. And if I can't make money, then that sucks. And if my advertising costs are too high, then I still can't make money because nobody wants to come to me. But I having an already established base, at least for some things, makes things a little bit easier. But even with that, I don't really want people coming to the website and leaving reviews for past work. Well, 7 years ago he came to my house and he installed my router and configured my network and shared my printer. I really don't want people doing that, because I don't want to say that review is useless, because it's not. And one of the things about Facebook is, it's kind of a little bit more legitimate, because you can always send somebody a message saying, hey, I'm looking for computer repair. I noticed he did work for you in the past. What was your experience like, or whatever? You can kind of use them as references too. So, it's obviously important to make sure that, it's all legit and not some bullshit, fake account somewhere saying, yeah, you did a great job, man. So that's one of the things. But, it all starts with the advertising, because people have to know that you're out there. They have to know that the service is available to do. And early on, like I said, I think these videos are a great way of getting customers to see who I am. I'm not some weirdo in a basement somewhere, and you got the things strung up in the background over there or whatnot. I'm just a normal guy, and I do computer repair. So check out the website. It's down below. All three of them. You got the YouTube account, you got the Facebook account, and you got the actual website. If you want, you can shoot me a private message on Hangouts or something like that, or drop an email to the account that's listed on the website and all. Just if you want to critique it, if you think maybe this sucks, or this isn't user friendly, or this doesn't work, send me an email. I'll take a look at it, and I'm always open to suggestions. I'm not a dick like that, and we'll take it from there. But I did want to just shoot you guys a video. Because some of you guys have been with me for God knows how long, years and years and years and years. And, I didn't want you to think I was out in the wind again, but it is what it is. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me, unfortunately, I'm sure, for a lot of you people. And, and if you want, you can subscribe to the other channel as well. And that's really where you're going to see a lot of me, is over there doing repairs and things like that. So, we'll have some fun with that. But I'm going to let this video ride, because it's already 23 minutes long, and I don't know how much storage space is left on my phone, or how big this video is going to be. So, real quick though, let me take you with me. Again, as I mentioned, this is on my iPhone. Or maybe I mentioned it, I don't know. But we're just going to take a quick look here at my setup. This is my desk here. I'm trying to get a good angle. That's one of my monitors. If we pull it out, you can actually see that this is a dual display here. I use two monitors. I got a crappy keyboard. I bought that thing. Well, you can see my ashtray. I bought this keyboard right here at Best Buy about, 13 years ago, and it's still in existence. So we'll see how it goes, guys. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, and see you later.